Hello there, everyone. I am going to show you how I inspect a hive and how I feed a new hive. Thanks for watching. All right, so let's get started. What you're watching me do here is light a smoker. I'm using smoker fuel and newspaper, and I'm just going to get that heated up, and I'm going to let the smell of the fuel get on my hands. It actually helps to get the smoker fuel scent on you before you work the hive as well, at least, according to my instructor. So that's how I do it. So right now we're going to smoke the entrance. Just kind of let them know that we're going to be working with them. And then we're going to lift the telescopic cover and give them a little smoke in there. All right, so what you're going to watch me do now is I'm going to lift the telescopic cover very gently, and I'm going to set it down on the ground or just propped up. And then what you're seeing here is called an inner cover, and you want to use your hive tool that I just showed you there, and you are going to crack each corner. This is way easier in the spring than it is in the fall because they have more propolis in the fall. But for right now, it's just going to slide up really easily. So normally there'd be a lot of bees, but this is the swarm that we caught that's really small, so not so many bees. This right here is a top feeder. I placed a top feeder to give them a little bit of sugar water. The sugar water is intended to resemble nectar, so it is going to be a one-to-one sugar and water mix. I do it by volume. Some people do it a little bit different. That's how I do it. It's pretty empty right now, so when I get done with all this, I'm going to feed them some more. All right, so aside from feeding them, I am also looking for a queen, and I'm going to be looking for signs of laying. The last time I looked at this hive, I had just put them in the box. We had just captured the swarm, and we were just trying to get them to stay by giving them a frame of brood and also by giving them a little bit of sugar water, hopefully to make sure that they didn't take off on us. So now I'm looking for signs that she's settled in. Okay, so when we first pull out a frame, you want to pull out one of the outside frames. You can choose either side, but one of the outermost frames is least likely to have a queen on it, and you really want to remove them first so that you can have space to slide your other frames and not risk what they call rolling your queen. Rolling is just another way of saying killing your queen. So I've already removed one of the outer frames, and I'm going to set it aside. Of course, these are blank because I gave this swarm mostly blank frames, not all of them. I gave them, I think, maybe one or two drawn combs. So of course the next one I'm going to take out is also blank. So I'm just going to set this one aside, and next, in the next shot, you're going to see what I mean about creating space to move your frames so that you can pull them up safely without scraping the frames against one another. So here I am moving it to the side, and when it has space, you can pull these frames up without scraping them and causing the bees to bump against one another, which sometimes ultimately causes you to roll or kill your queen. Alright, so now we're going to pull up the third frame and take a look at it. You want to inspect each frame really well. A few things you're looking for on each frame is a queen. You always want to know where your queen is, at least in regards to the frame that you're holding, if she is on it. And you're also going to look for signs of pollen, honey, and most importantly, you want to see eggs. You're not always necessarily looking for eggs, but in this case we are, because we want to know that our queen is laying and is healthy. But right now on this frame, what we see is what we normally see on the outer frames, which is a little bit of pollen, sometimes a little bit of honey. And so we just move right on to the next frame. So I'm going to use my Hive tool here, and I'm going to pull up frame 4 out of 10. I'm working on a 10 frame hive. Just for your knowledge, some hives can be 8 frames, but it just so happens that I have 10 frame equipment, so I have 10 frame hives. Okay, so this looks like one of the frames that I gave to her. And so I expect this frame to have a little bit of brood on it. But I'm also going to be looking pretty carefully for the queen herself on this one. I'm going to flip each side, look very slowly, and be very careful with my hands not to crush any bees that may be wandering on the edges. So just take your time with this, don't rush, and take a look at what you see. Lots of pollen there on the right in the different cells. You can see all the various different colors. And again, take your time looking at this frame, and maybe in another video I will show you the difference between different ages of cells. But for now, we're going to set that one back into the hive, and we are going to push it gently to the side against the frames that we've already looked at. And using our Hive tool, we are going to separate out a frame and slide into the open space that we have made available. And we're going to pull the next one up. And here's another frame that I gave to them. You can always tell older wax by the coloring. So darker wax means that it's been in the hive for longer. And you can definitely see that in this one here. So I'm going to look at this one a little bit more carefully, being really gentle with it. I am really gentle with my bees. I see a lot of people on YouTube who are not, but I prefer to just work really slowly with them. And this is one of my favorite shots because on this frame you can see the queen. Feel free to pause it and come back to it and try your hand at spotting her. But she's on there, and really it's not so important to see the queen as it is to see eggs most of the time. So don't get discouraged if you don't see the queen. Really work on being able to recognize eggs in a cell, and that will really tell you more about the status of the hive than anything else. Okay, so I just kind of sped through the rest of it. I've seen eggs, I've seen the queen, I know that they're building comb, and so now I am just going to, like what you saw, put the top feeder back on and dump my 1-to-1 syrup into the feeder. The little ladder that you see inside of the top feeder just kind of floats on top of the nectar, and as the nectar goes down after they've consumed it, it just eventually settles on the bottom. So it really prevents bees from drowning, which I've had problems with before. So now we just put our inner cover back on top, and next we are going to put back on our telescopic cover. Make sure that it's on snug, and then we'll place a rock on top, especially if you're in an area with high winds. You really want to make sure that your hive top doesn't blow off. So I hope this has been a good tutorial for you guys on inspecting your hive and feeding your hive, and thank you so much for watching.